Hello, my name is Shayla Blatchford, and I've been living here in Santa Fe for about 8.5 years. And before that, I grew up and was raised in Southern California, and I came out here to be closer to my family on the Navajo reservation. My mother was adopted off the res and reunited when she was 32, and I was about 8 years old. And long story short, was able to meet my family, but didn't develop such a strong relationship because of being 12 hours away. It wasn't until I was 26 that I decided I wanted to leave the West Coast and kind of just dive deeper into my cultural background and family, and finally just pursue photography professionally. And so I came here to study mainly documentary studies, and I really got into like audiovisual storytelling. So telling people stories through imagery and connecting audio to that as well. So kind of just becoming this vessel to just share someone's direct story and allowing them to speak for themselves. And so after going to school here and getting my BFA, and after 4 years, I was trying to figure out how to continue this project of, connecting with my family through photography, and I would go out there and visit, but I felt like just this story of self-exploration wasn't enough. I wanted to show something bigger, and it took time of just going out and visiting over and over, and it wasn't until this last trip that I had last summer, 2018, that I kind of went off on my own one day, and I pulled off on this side of the road because I was looking for abandoned uranium mines, and I found kind of this vague EPA map, no real latitude or longitude. I kind of just used my intuitive knowledge of mapping and wove myself way up into there, and I kind of figured that it was really important to show the landscape and area of where my family was living. Anyone can show their family story and have an exhibition, and it's beautiful, but I wanted to somehow educate people about, why do they live in these situations, and why is it such a struggle for them? And kind of just learning more about the coal and uranium mining that was happening around there. I felt like that was kind of the answer, or it was just going to reveal more about their history. And so I was really attracted to this one place because there was around 900 acres that was leased to a group under a different name at the time, but it was really the Manhattan Project, and that's what made the atomic bomb. And so about 900 acres was leased in this area, and so all of this uranium was mined, and there's all of these ponds and springs up there, and all of this water comes down to the same place. And so if you think about all of the contamination that's happening, and all of the sickness that trickles down, and we don't hear these stories, and I don't know the health conditions of my family. Everyone seems fine, but they're also fairly young. But I continue to read all these stories of everyone else around. They're getting sick. And so, all of these people come to this beautiful landscape that we have to take a picture and leave. And I think this land is so much more than that. It has so much more to say. And so the next step in this photo project that I had in mind was creating a website that has a map that allows people to engage and show more. Sorry about my dog. She's kind of looking like the focal point there. But it's really about the land and the background. And so this is another part of that mountain that is where where the water sits. But at this time it's dried up, and there's some sheep herding going on beyond there. And this is from up above, kind of looking down. But I'm getting back to the mapping. So what I want to show is, I could continue to focus on where my family lives, which is farther south than here, but I want to go an hour and a half north to this location, the Lukachukai Mountains, and let me see where I'm at with time. and show how these abandoned uranium mines look today, if they're being taken care of, and then connecting the stories of, there's this chapter house up here that has a uranium miners veterans memorial, and I want to talk to those families and just hear their experience of, what it's been like living with uranium mining for the past, 70 years. Because I feel like we could have a lot to learn from them, because I've read recently that there are other places in the Southwest that they're considering mining in 2020. And this website, ideally, it'll be of the four corners, but it'll have all of this information compiled into one, area. So you can add these filters to see uranium mines that are depleted, cleaned up. And yes, there are mines that are being cleaned up, but there are still some that have higher radiation levels than other. And so these are the more urgent ones that have like the yellow centers. And I'm mirroring all of this. This whole idea to create a larger map comes from the Anti-Eviction Mapping Project, which is what's going on in Oakland right now. They've made this larger interactive map that allows people to share their stories. And that's what I want to do for the Navajo Reservation, is just create transparency and show, just kind of in a sense give them closure so they can share their story of what they've gone through, and hopefully that someone has heard them, or that they can educate others so the same thing doesn't happen again, because it's kind of just what happens with mining for natural resources. They do it in these quiet, closed places where no one hears about it. And this is a 200-acre uranium mill that's been covered with concrete that is unusable. So that's one of many. And maybe more are to be covered in this way. So I kind of just want to show and kind of everyone what is happening in the Four Corners area. And ideally, if this website comes about, then we can all educate ourselves and prevent this from happening in the future even more.